And then...
I am consenting to be recorded.
What did you say?
I am consenting to be recorded.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Now I have that on video.
This is great. I'm with it. I really like
Awesome.
this lighting too.
Yeah. It's like, is that the natural lighting or it's that lamp?
No, it's a lamp. But
Okay.
normally lamps don't look this great.
I know. It's like, well, and also I think the contrast, because the background is dark, so it helps just like brighten up your face. Yeah. You have such a beautiful smile.
Oh my God. You have a beautiful heart. God dang it.
Well, thank you. Okay. Let me set this up. I'm going to say title is, what was our title? Stepping into Fitness with Sonie and Jazel.
Oh, que cute. Que bonita.
All right. Okay, is it gonna bring me to the right page? Let's see.
Oh, wow, you can directly, oh my gosh, this is some next level technology.
See, it's nice. Well, I think there's like easier ways to, or there's specific websites that would do all of this.
That's pretty neato.
But Zoom has a lot of features. And I think we are on live. I just want to pop this open and see if there's a way I can check for if anyone comments, because that would be useful.
So interactive too.
Yeah.
This is the next level. I'm so shook.
It's cool, huh?
It is really cool.
All right, let me see. Okay. I'll see if anything pops up there, and I'll close this so I don't like go all like, oh, notification. Oh, notification. All right, so let's get started.
Cool
this
beans.
Is on audio record and video record as well as live. For everyone tuning in, welcome. Thank you for joining in with us. My name is Jazel. As a little intro, I would like to say I'm a personal trainer and Pilates instructor offering virtual training, and I'm also a trained dancer and aerialist who kind of stepped into the fitness world. I don't know if it's stepped in, stumbled in, or rolled in, however you
pretty much
dance and group fitness. So that was my whole route. I aim to motivate people to achieve their fitness goals by encouraging creativity in movement patterns and positive self-talk. My goal is to help people find joy through movement, connecting with their bodies, increasing our energy, and building a strong mind, body, and soul. But bonus tip or bonus offer before I start, I want to, before I start the interview, I would love to offer anyone who is tuning in today a complimentary goal setting session where you get to sit down and chat with me.
Ooh la la.
So we can get you on a solid path towards your fitness goals. So whether you're listening live or on the replay, that offer is out there for you. And I guess to start out, how me and Sonie connected was actually basically through Instagram.
Yes.
We have like this whole virtual world that's just, you know, connecting dots all across the world and connecting people all across the world. I think it's so amazing that we have this today to be able to reach out to people that we would have never passed by in our entire life.
Exactly.
So let's see, a little backstory. I think I lived in El Paso for the past couple years before moving to Seattle, and I recognized that you were posting a lot of pictures in El Paso, but you also or in fitness and taught Pilates and yoga. And I was scrolling through Instagram. I think I was even just on, not even, you know how they do the
geotags.
Yeah, the geotags, or what's the tab that?
Oh, the explore page.
Yeah, the explore page. I think I was on explore page.
Oh, dang!
I was like, oh, this girl also teaches Pilates, and she's in El Paso, and she's Asian. I was like, I have to friend request her.
Boom.
And
it's magic since then.
There we go. That's how we met. So we got coffee, and
oh my gosh,
made some connections in El Paso, and now you're in Ruidoso for the weekend, and yes. I'm in Seattle. Oh my gosh, Sonie, would you like to share with the audience a little bit about yourself and like what you do for work? And yeah, we'll start with that.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for that, Jazel. Hi, my name is Sonie. I don't know where to begin because I've done so many different jobs. I actually started off as a Zumba instructor back in, I want to say 2015. It was right when I just got to college, and I was really trying to find my identity. And before then, I was really into band and music, and we did a lot with color guard and dancing. But I kind of outgrew that, and I really want to explore other facets that regarded with dance or that related to dance. So I went in and really embraced Zumba. Like eventually I would start from the back of the class all the way to the front of the class, and then eventually made my way to teaching a class. But through that transformation, it's been very eye-opening because of my overall build of self-esteem and confidence, as well as just learning that fitness does not have to be all about aesthetics. And from my physical stature back then, it was really very thin, didn't really eat that much, and wasn't really replenishing my body, and it caused inconsistent periods. And so once I started getting into fitness and just eating nutrients and drinking a lot more water, that regulated my periods. And then I started also taking Pilates classes, actually through Blog Pilates.
Oh, so, yeah, I know, I love her.
Yes. For me, it was just so eye-opening to just go on YouTube. And I really don't know how I came across that video, but all I knew and remembered was that I resonated so much with her because I didn't see any other Asian American fitness influencers. And even to this day, it is still growing, but she's still at the forefront of that, leading as an Asian American woman. And so for me, that resonated because I didn't see that all, on the screens. It's usually predominantly white roles that play into that. So for me to see that, like, that really, for one, resonated with me, and then for two, really built on the positivity of it does not have to be about the external factors and the external goals, but really focusing on the intrinsic motivation and really leading into discipline as well, and understanding that it's a lifelong commitment to that. So that's when I really got into getting my degree in exercise science, graduated with that, and now I am currently just stretching people out using belts and straps, which, PNF stretching isn't anything new, but with the belts and straps, that is something that has really been cool to see the body to not compensate and to really allow me to do my work of isolating and stabilizing the certain muscle groups that I want to focus on. And so
going off of that, for the people that don't know what PNF stretching is, or like what the belts and straps is, can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. So PNF stretching is pretty much you have an individual who's helping somebody else stretch, whether it's taking their limb and moving it in one direction to stretch it out, and holding it. There's also certain movements that are associated with that. So pretty much you're not doing the stretching yourself, you're having someone else stretch for you. So they're moving the limbs for you. But in times with that, your body starts to try to compensate, meaning it's trying to cheat, right? We feel the tension. We want to go as far as we can, and then our other limb wants to follow along with. And so that's where the belts and straps come into play. So I utilize those at my job with that practitioner assisted stretching, and really just valuing range of motion. And in turn, with that, I really got into strength training as well. And the range of motion helps so much with strength training, getting depth into squats, really allowing full range of motion in a bench press. And then I, seeing that transition into strength has been really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, like whenever you're like too tight, or you don't have full range of motion when you're doing strength exercises, I feel that like that can really hinder like your ability to like grow your muscles completely, because you want
Absolutely
to be like the different angles and like getting that full range of your muscles, rather than just like, oh, I'm just working like a quarter of my squat or something.
Yes.
But sometimes
Absolutely.
people are just like so tight that going any lower than that, because they're so tight, like their weight of balance is going to like lean forward or like be too back, and then they're scared to like tip over, just because they aren't able to access like their entire body in the way that is completely functional.
Absolutely.
I mean, just going into the importance of functional strength training.
Yes.
Obviously, we don't all need to learn how to lift up 400 pounds overhead. That's almost the opposite of functional strength training.
Yeah.
Unless, I guess maybe it would be functional for specific occupations. Depending what your occupation is, then functional to you would probably mean something completely different.
Oh, yes, of course.
But yeah, that's awesome. Well, my next question would be, how did you get into fitness in the first place? And what did you think about fitness before you started? I know that you said like before you didn't have a healthy fitness and nutrition routine, and what got you from the point of not doing anything at all to being an instructor where you are now?
Oh, yes. I think for me it was a lot that has to do with confidence issues, and especially with an Asian household, it's really focused on external factors. So it's really focused on, oh, you are too skinny, oh, you are too fat, you're eating too much, you're eating nothing at all, and it's just blatantly stated out there. And so I was
shame.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's not enough rice, oh, that's too much rice. Oh, you're going for your third plate? I was like, what,
oh my gosh, yes.
Or eat everything?
Yes. And I think also, I mean, that contributed, but I think there was just multitude of factors, such as like I wasn't even able to open jars, and I was embarrassed because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not strong enough to even open up jar. Yes. And it's just like those small daily activities that we don't really think about, or I mean, carrying groceries too and helping my parents with that. So with that, when I found that Pilates video, it was just such a game changer, because it just highlighted positivity and really focusing on these small steps. So, throughout the video, Cassie's like, it's okay if you can't finish this video, because then eventually you build on that, and eventually that workout becomes your warm-up. And it really is true once you can continuously be consistent with it. I mean, my thoughts about fitness was that it was just for brosives and people who wanted to just get so I mean, pretty much. And even as a freshman in college, to go to the recreational gyms, I didn't really see as many females lifting too. So that was an interesting observation. So with Pilates, it was kind of like that gateway into just understanding fitness in general, understanding how to move my body and coordinate my body and allow that with my breathing. And it was just such a conscious awareness.
I always think that like that I don't know where the idea has come from, because as females, I don't know about other countries, but at least like females in America and like young girls in America, we grow up thinking that lifting weights or lifting anything heavy will like make us just like bulk up. Like,
yeah.
I was like, who told us that? And why did we believe them?
I know that. Yeah, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's like, I don't remember my parents ever saying that, because I never showed interest in like actually like going to a gym, so they wouldn't be able to comment on something that, you know, was never really
right.
the topic. But I've been on this I've been trying to search or like answer this question of like, how did we believe XYZ? Like where in my upbringing did I start to think that that you had to stop eating to lose weight, or where in my upbringing did I think that, you know, that lifting weights is going to make me just like swell up with like muscles. Like I don't know. The list can go on. Those are only like a couple examples, but I feel like lately that's really been on my mind of what this perception of being healthy and fit should be like, and we kind of forget to or maybe we're just like not taught at a young age that fitness and like moving is really what keeps you healthy and keeps you living longer.
Absolutely.
I guess like the only way would be is if your parents or someone that, you know, was around you had that knowledge of how to be healthy or had that knowledge of how to eat well.
Yes, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, even in one of my exercise science classes, it was the professor asked a question regarding how did you even select kinesiology, or how did you even value fitness? And pretty much the majority of the class, except for me, because I came across it through YouTube, everyone came across it because their parents ran marathons, or they put them in sports, or they really focused on walking every single day. And I really didn't have that. I just played outside and kind of did my own thing. And I came across YouTube, like, and then people were like, what, really?
It's like,
yeah, like I'm doing sports. And, you know, I begged my parents to do band in the first place. And that's how I kind of got involved with marching, and then kind of, you know, taking stepping stones towards fitness now.
Yeah. So side question, did you ever play instruments besides
Oh yeah, I played the B flat clarinet and I played the bass clarinet.
That's awesome.
And this bass clarinet, like, I mean, compared to how small I was, like, it was ginormous. I needed full lung capacity.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But the clarinet, yeah, it was an amazing instrument.
Nice. I wish I learned an instrument growing up. I tried to learn guitar when the whole like Avril Lavigne like came out and said she taught herself how to play guitar at 13. So at like 13, 14, I asked my parents to get me a guitar for Christmas, and they got me a guitar for Christmas. But little did I know, like my hands were just like so small compared to the guitar.
Yes.
This isn't really working out. My hands are getting callous.
Yes, they end up actually extending and growing because my fingers are pretty long now from
Oh, really?
playing
Wow.
the, yes, I feel like it compared to other people's hands, like my fingers are pretty, they look like piano hands.
But did you play piano also?
No. I never got involved with it.
I played around with the piano, not like, that little like chopstick song or something, but that was the extent
Oh
of
my
how
gosh.
playing. Awesome. Well, here's I guess like another topic that I've had on my mind. As an Asian American woman, what was it like to go into the fitness industry, and what were, I guess, like some of the barriers that you had to face to be where that you're at now?
So, as an Asian American woman, going into the fitness industry, so for me, college was a new thing for me and for my whole family as well. I was a first generation college student. And so with that, there comes some limited resources. And thankfully, and I'm, forever grateful for this, of the opportunities where my recreational services department actually offered scholarships to be able to get certified and to not only become certified, but to help with the continuing education and really focusing on the sustainability aspect of just staying as an instructor, how to stay on top of it with getting clients. We did so many leadership workshops. So for me, I was very grateful that my university was really diverse and they had a lot of access to different resources. So even once I got out of it, I had minor barriers, but they weren't anything compared to, what I without those resources.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
without that, yes, I'm forever grateful for my university for providing that, because I mean, I'm really ahead of the game as far as, teaching a lot of diverse formats and really coming to the conclusion of sticking to the one that I'm with right now, which is yoga and Pilates. That's my absolute favorite format to teach, and just understanding all the other formats though, and linking that with those conditions into that
Yeah,
class.
that's awesome. I know it's amazing to be able to find like those opportunities that really kind of just like
Mm-hmm.
support us and just jumpstart us for the rest of our careers, or really just like help us maintain that career in the first place with the CECs and like getting certified.
Yes,
It is expensive, like it's it's really a lot of money to, and just a lot of time to have to do that. Especially
absolutely.
at least like for me, when I got my Pilates certification, I was working a part-time job and like saved up every penny.
You have
those,
to.
those Pilates certifications are not cheap.
They're not, no. And if you don't have that money saved up or readily available, it's really hard to even become as an instructor at that point too. You really have to be motivated and really have that passion resonate with you in order to continue with that. So yes.
I did remember. I just found out that Balanced Body Pilates, they have their own certification, and they're
Oh,
actually
wow.
offering scholarships to, I guess, to people in need who like low, I guess you'd say like
Low
low
income. Mm-hmm.
income instructors, or people who want to be instructors, so that they can actually afford getting
Oh,
certified in Pilates.
wow.
I
Good
don't know all of the
on them.
details on that, but I can look it up. And if anyone's interested and they're watching this video, I'll put the details in the comments below.
Oh,
But
wow. That
that's
is
an
really
awesome
incredible.
opportunity to have.
My rocket training actually provided me a scholarship as well
Oh,
for
nice! And
the My 100 hour.
congratulations on that. That's
Yes, I
awesome.
just finished. I just finished this month out. We're pretty much completing the last few bits of the training, but I'm very grateful for that too, because also with that first generation college student, it also comes with a lot of loans, and
Nice.
also with just understanding how to navigate financially with all of that. So
Oh yeah.
I'm also really grateful for that because it allows me to do what I am pursuing now.
Yeah. Do you mean navigate like financially, where they would, I guess, like teach you how to use your finances, or they gave you financial support?
Both. For me,
Oh, nice.
I didn't really know much about loans,
Mm.
and understanding how much to take out and where to look for as far as places where you can save a little bit and
Mhm.
not having to pay full, like such as textbooks, not having to pay full price for them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different alternatives, but it's just kind of coming in and just kind of being blown away with a lot of different topics that I was just not aware of
Yeah.
until now I'm learning on it a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, back then I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this is terrifying and a lot. And I went to a lot of the resources there on campus because my parents were like,
Oh.
don't ask me, I had no idea.
Well, that's so good. Well, I mean, I guess it, it's good that your parents like told you to go and find that information, that they actually provide you with
Yes.
that information, because I think as as a college student, we have to we don't really know like how to like handle our finances,
Yeah.
really thinking about that long term, because the
Hmm.
loans, they don't, you don't just get them and go to school. You got to pay that off for like years on end, and like how much how long you're planning to pay it off, and how long you're hoping to or like how much you'll be potentially making after graduating. So there's a lot of, I feel like that should be like a requirement in like high school.
Yes.
How to deal with your finances as an adult.
I know, and especially the interest on top too.
Yeah, and the growing interest. Oh my goodness.
It's never ending.
Never ending. It's like how much do you have to pay until it actually makes a dent on the
Yes,
amount?
it stinks.
Well, hopefully, hopefully it'll get better.
Oh, it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it.
I think going off being a first generation college student, and also like Asian American, were your parents supportive of the career choice that you made?
Uh, yes and no. Mostly no. It was kind of difficult to explain to them what I was doing, I think would
Uh,
be the best thing.
yeah.
I did get certified as an exercise physiologist,
Mhm.
but currently I'm not really using that certification other than for my stretching jobs and for the group fitness jobs that I'm being put in and some personal training as well.
Mhm.
But as far as actually using that exercise physiology position and actually working in a hospital or at a cardiac rehab center, I'm not using it right now. And so it's kind of hard to explain that to my parents of what I do because right now with the fitness industry, like there's so many growing avenues. Like, I mean, I never thought I would see and experience something with stretching and utilizing belts and straps.
Yeah.
Even though it looks really intimidating, it's actually, it is amazing. But just the different avenues, it's kind of hard to catch them up on all of that. So they were kind of approved, kind of not. But I
Yeah.
think eventually at the end, like they saw how happy I was,
Mhm.
and as long as I was happy, they actually eventually accepted that and were happy with it too.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad.
Thank you.
There's always that I guess like the stigma of like Asian parents wanting their kids to be doctors or lawyers
Yes.
or I don't know, accountants.
Yes.
So I always think it's interesting to know how that ended up playing out for people who did decide to go into other fields.
Oh yes. Hmm.
Thankfully for me, like My family's always been like pretty supportive of me dancing and like performing and being in the arts. I don't think I don't know if they expected me to do it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously like kind of like led me into the whole fitness world. But I remember just like growing up, like my grandma would be like, oh, if don't you want to be a nurse? If you want to be a nurse, I can send you to school in the Philippines and you can start making money right away. Like, thanks, Grandma.
Oh my goodness.
But obviously I didn't do that either. But yeah, another, I guess another current topic was, how are things going with you throughout the whole, COVID situation? Because,
During quarantine?
yeah. Were you still able to, I guess, like teach classes virtually or still stretch people?
Yeah, quarantine was an interesting time. So with the stretching, I was put on furlough, and I had to apply for unemployment, which, that definitely does help out. But I nonetheless, like, I still really missed it. I missed my clients. I knew that they were in a lot of pain, especially because they were going there to get release and to release tension and reduce stiffness, and some of that stiffness really impacts their daily life, especially in clients who have cerebral palsy and they're constantly tense. Or people who had hip or knee surgeries and just needed to be stretched out. And, sometimes in certain modalities, it's very temporary for them, but with our stretching techniques, it's been very lasting for them. So I just really miss the connection. And I did teach some classes virtually, but it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It was very different to navigate technology. And it was an interesting time overall.
Yeah. What has helped you get through that time, and just surviving? Really,
I think it was for me, I've been wanting space to reflect and to focus on myself as well, because in our industry we are really people driven and really focusing on other people's goals and other people's needs and other people's pains. So with that time, it was interesting in not connecting with people, but then, after maybe a few days, I realized it was actually what I needed. I went a lot more on my walks and really focused on my own fitness goals and try to maintain my strength, especially being at the gym constantly. And that was a little bit of a struggle too, because that's, how I handle a lot of it just makes me feel super good, and being without it was hard, but working out at home really helps out with that, and constantly checking in on clients and other people who were into fitness. And it was good to see that they were okay. It was just not the same.
Yeah, I know. It's like we're still going to be alive if the gym is closed, but there's always other things that you can do. I think it's more so just the motivation aspect, and
Yes,
able to have a dedicated space to work out, and
absolutely.
a space to be active. And
Yes.
that was one of the issues over here, at least for me, because I have a studio apartment, and so all within like
Yes.
500 square feet, you have your kitchen, and then your bedroom, and your desk, and your bathroom, and your TV, and like a few weights on the side.
Yes.
So it's hard to turn something on, or to turn on like workout mode and turn off relaxing mode, or there's been times where I'll like doing an exercise, and then I'd stop and like I'd have a snack and then go back. I was like, oh, you're cooking this? Like, okay.
Oh my gosh. What was your go-to snack? How did you
You don't want to know.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, we found this wonderful yet not so wonderful thing called GoPuff. It's basically like a delivery convenience store. And so,
Oh, wow.
you know, if you walk into a gas station, it's like all of that stuff.
Wow.
But
Truth comes out. Holy moly.
Everyone's gone through like their deep end and they're in quarantine.
Oh, yes. No, definitely. Definitely. But overall, I think it just really allowed for that creativity and that playfulness to come back, because I've always been that person. But I think, you know, you do get lost in that daily routine sometimes. So it was just really nice to reconnect with that creativity and playfulness, and learning more about the different formats that you are teaching. So I had a chance to catch up on my continuing education.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
and staying current on the fitness research.
Yeah. Well, what what platforms do you teach, and then two, what certifications have you been working on?
Oh gosh. So the studio that I teach at is Aerozen, which Jazel used to teach at.
You teach my class now.
Yes, and it's been amazing. Like absolutely amazing.
It's so much fun. Like I love teaching that class. But yeah, I just love getting creative with the combination between like yoga and Pilates. I think there's so many benefits to both, but having to like fuse them together, it's like a match made in heaven.
Like there's like an unlimited amount of, you know, ways where you can create that class, like so many different variations, because, you know, with yoga, you're really focusing on the consciousness and the self-awareness and your breathing in Pilates too, but really connecting to more of that spiritual side. And then with Pilates, you're really focusing on precision and breathing and concentration and focus and all the stability muscles. So to combine the two, like it's such a beautiful blend. So that's currently the studio that I teach at, and as well I was a faculty member at the University of Texas at El Paso. So I was teaching a yoga course there, and I was also teaching for their P3 department. So it's their professional and public programs that they offer for adults, and it's fitness classes for all kinds of things. I did a lift tonics class, and then I'm going to teach a morning mat Pilates, and then a yoga flow.
Did you have to teach those online during COVID?
Yes, I did. And then I also did a couple of Facebook Lives too. So, I mean, all the platforms were very fun to play with, kind of frustrating sometimes, but it was very different. Yeah, I really liked experimenting with all the different platforms. And so we taught virtually through that, and stretching I couldn't do, which really stinks.
It's like, it's hard to, I mean, well, because PNF stretching does,
you kind of need that.
I mean, there's a way to do it by yourself, but it's much easier to get in a relaxed position with the stretch if someone else is doing the work for you.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
just stretch me.
Yes. And so I stretch out of Stretch Zone. So I do that as well. So those are the places that I teach at.
That's awesome.
I think I missed the second question.
Oh, well, what new certifications have you gotten into or have been during this quarantine time?
Oh, yes. So the biggest one for me is the 100-hour Rocket Yoga. And Rocket Yoga is a Western accessible yoga class that's based off of Ashtanga yoga. And if you know Ashtanga yoga, it's very hardcore. So pretty much you can think of it as the elitist. The people who have really mastered Ashtanga are the ones doing it. And so usually if you don't master the yoga pose, then you don't really move on until you master that pose, pretty much. And it's a very specific sequence. So anyone that does Ashtanga yoga and knows that sequence, depending on if it's rocket or if it's primary versus secondary series or things like that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with Rocket Yoga, is it accessible to beginners as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So a lot of other people, they actually, they have their handstands, their pinchas. They pretty much go into all of these crazy yoga poses. But what makes Rocket accessible is that we learn we learn specific drills to help achieve that goal. So with Rocket, they say that, it gets you there faster, meaning, these drills that you work on the breathing. We did all different sorts of exercises. It was just a lot. It was just all out there.
Awesome.
It got me into a lot of the poses very quickly because I understood what I need to do in order to build that strength. So we focus on fundamentals, such as controlled articular rotation. So moving one joint at a time, really being aware of all the joint actions that joint goes through, such as pronation, supination, like flexion, extension, just different movements that our joint can go through, and understanding how to move that. And then, from there we focus on the breathing and meditating every day. So it was quite the journey on that one.
That's awesome.
Yes, and then I got a couple free other educational sources from APA and NASM. They had a couple
There
of
was a
them.
lot of like free ones. Like there was the mental health one from
Yes,
NASM.
I got that one.
And I guess like just during this time, there's been a lot of free fitness courses all across the board.
Yes.
With what has helped you stay healthy and active and mentally healthy as well over the past few months?
Definitely the walks. It was just to connect with nature it was much needed to have that space because every day we are so bombarded with stimuli. We get text messages, notifications, we get calls from significant others, from people in our lives, from jobs. And then you go on the computer, there's emails, even Netflix, like you're not really even relaxing because you still are receiving that stimuli. So it's just nice to just go on a walk and kind of let it be.
All of the should I think during this time I've also learned just like the beauty of turning things off, and
Yes, absolutely.
What do they call it? There's various ways of getting tired. I learned this through one of the Carbon 38 weekly meetings that they've been having every week during quarantine. And one of the speakers came in and explained the 7 different ways of being tired. So you can be socially tired, like
oh my gosh,
rely on you a lot, and people are needing things from you, or like you're always being like that support. You can get fatigued from that. There's what's it called? I can't remember like all the names, but you can get tired from just technology being around, whether it's lights, it's the phone, it's the TV, it's sound. That can also be draining as well.
Yes.
And always having to put yourself out there to like talk and present yourself, like that's another way of being tired. So there's all these different like various ways where we're giving our energy and not always putting energy back into ourselves, and learning how to rejuvenate ourselves. So I was just like going on walks and just rebuilding my energy again.
Absolutely.
Really like getting out into nature. That's a big thing.
Yes.
Knowing like this is the world that we live in, and like these are the things that like naturally grow out of the earth that we all live in.
Oh my gosh. I actually really want to start making my own plant garden. So if you have any advice for plant gardens, leave in the comments. Because I'm serious. I really want to start a plant. I live in an apartment, but I have some balconies. We can make do with what we got.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you got a balcony, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
Our apartment complex, well, it was closed over the past few months, but on the rooftop, they have this whole little open garden area that people can reserve lots of dirt to plant, like potatoes and herbs and flowers.
Oh my gosh.
But it's super cute. And they just opened up the rooftop about a week or two ago, so we can actually go up there now.
Oh, yay!
I was like, I need more plants in my life. I need a plant for my apartment. We don't have a balcony, sadly, but we can just walk outside and there's.
But you're in Seattle, so you're surrounded by all the good coffee shops.
Yeah, some of them are closed. Some of them are actually open to sit in as well.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, let's see. Last few questions. Oh, here's a good one. How do you teach someone who has very little to no fitness experience at all? And what do you do differently to help them feel successful?
For that, knowledge is power. I know it's so cliche, but honestly, maybe I'm just a nerd and that's how I learned because before I got into the gym, I kid you not, I was literally reading about it, how to do a squat. I was watching videos of how to bench, how to spot someone, even took a class on weight training because I really, really, really wanted to, be badass, look awesome. And so for me, it was just really diving into that knowledge. And then, being in exercise science too and having that major kind of helped as well.
That's awesome. I know. I love books and just how-to books on anything, but kind of sidetracking. Do you have any book recommendations or some books that you've found inspirational in your past, whether recently during COVID or
before? My gosh.
I know.
So I would say,
question, but
I wouldn't say maybe not inspirational, but more
informational.
Yeah, informational would be, this book is called You Are What You Eat. It's a very easy, flippable book, but I read it for one of my classes, and it was so jam-packed of information because our bodies tell us a lot of what we're missing as far as our diet and our specifically the vitamins and minerals. And so, so let's say you have I think one of them was a red tip on your tongue. It could mean X, Y, and Z. Or if you have dandruff, it means you're lacking this vitamin, and this is how you can try to resolve it through gaining these nutrients. So for that's wow, cool. It's such a balance of everything of, what we eat. Are we eating diversely? And then from there, taking control of it's, our body's telling us these things for a reason. And so You Are What You Eat is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Another one, which doesn't really relate to fitness, but kind of does, is The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader by John Maxwell. Also read it for one of my classes, but really focuses on being charismatic. All these, that's the one that I really took from it. Doing what you love, a whole, all these different qualities to embrace. And when it comes to going on to your fitness journey, you actually gain not just, a lot of physical qualities, but a lot of personal development and self-improvement qualities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm trying, because I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
There's another one too that I've read, and it's actually from a local El Paso author called Keys to Greatness. And he used to be in the Marines, I want to say, but his book is just so methodological.
Methodological.
It has method to it. It has a purpose. And a lot of books I read, I I wouldn't say like I get inspired from them, because it's just like, okay, like I get like it's inspiring, but what do we do with this information? Like, how do we actually apply to it and make it sustainable? Like, sustainability is such a huge thing. Like, how do we make this lasting? And so his is a very, oh yes. And it's crazy because I always thought of myself as a very emotional individual, but when it comes to things like that, you know, systems are very impactful, and being consistent, and then taking out variables and changing it. So within this Keys to Great,
oh no, did we?
It's about, you know, your goals and your core values as a found. I know this hotel Wi-Fi is not the greatest. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But it dives into your what?
I said we're still on. We're good.
Yes. It goes into dive into your core values, your vision in life, and what you want to achieve, and then realigning it with your purpose. And I mean, it just kind of goes on and on of this step-by-step blueprint. So it just really starts off with self-identity of like, who am I? Where do I want to be? What do I like to do? Yes. And then from there, you build upon it and actually have a day-to-day ritual of spending some time and really reflecting on your purpose. And I mean, it just goes above and beyond of being able to have it sustainable.
That's so cool. That's awesome. And I'm probably going to ask you again what those books are afterwards, so I can put them in the information below as well.
Oh yes, yes,
awesome.
Absolutely.
That's great. As far as your top tips for starting a fitness routine and sticking to it, since we're talking about just the sustainability and like actually making it work, what are your top tips for that?
So for me, I know this is probably said multiple times, but it really does work. I actually keep a notepad of every single thing I did in my workout. So I put my workout that I did, and then what muscle group. Okay, wait, let me backtrack, because
it's okay.
It starts off with a calendar, and within that calendar, I have my splits of what I'm going to do that day. So even before I go to the gym, I already know what I'm going to target, because when you get to the gym and you have no idea what you're doing, you're pretty much have no direction as to where to go. And from there, it gets really messy. So I have a split that really dives into each muscle group, and then really allowing for 48 hours of recovery of that muscle group to allow, and you know, because we think that we should work our legs every single day, especially us females, right? And the booty. And we shouldn't, because we need that recovery time in order for those little micro tears to rebuild and overlap and become stronger for your muscles, which is where that hypertrophy comes from, or muscle growth. And with that calendar, I have it written all out. And I'll be very consistent in my workout too. So I'll start off with a power exercise. And this is what I learned in my weight training program that helps out a lot. I do a power that's the opposing muscle group of what I'm focusing on for that day. So let's say if I'm focusing on chest, triceps, and shoulders, I'm going to start off with a power movement of legs, because if I did a power movement of upper body, I'm just going to be burnt out from that rest of the workout. So that's how I like to alternate it. And then for my power, I go into the compound. And with that compound, I do either my squats, deadlifts, or bench. So anything that involves multiple joints. And then from there, I go into,
It's like, yes, compound moves.
I'm getting so excited about that.
I know.
And then from there, I go into single joint actions, such as tricep extension, bicep curls. So just one joint moving at a time to target that. So I keep it pretty consistent. So I know, A, what I'm going to do that day before I get to the gym, B, what type of exercises I'm going to do, and C, the order that it's going to be in. And then D, I actually have a notepad. It's a pretty long notepad. I used to write it on my notebook and transferred it over to my phone, because it was just easier to type up what I did. Exactly. So I just write down, okay, I did bench 5 sets of 5 at, however much of the weight I did, and then so on and so forth, because then the next time I'll try to add a little bit more on. So I'm like, okay, I benched 95 pounds last time. I'm going to go ahead and move it up to maybe 100 pounds and see how that works. And if it did, I'll write it. I'll make a little bit of notes here and there as well. So it's actually a pretty long notepad, and that's what really helps, keep that adherence.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing that, okay, like I actually remember all these workouts I'm doing and being consistent. And so if there's something that, if there's a plateau, if there's something that there hasn't been any change after a couple weeks, maybe about 4 weeks, then that's where I like to start changing it. Okay, maybe I should switch to dumbbell to barbell, or I'll switch to cables and incorporate resistance bands or medicine balls and kind of change them out nice and slowly. So it's a consistent adjustment, which really, really helps.
Do you use Excel sheets and look at the total volume of like your workouts?
I should, but I don't. For me, it's just easier to just write it in a notepad, and for me to just scroll through and see when I did it. I mean, it's with the Excel sheet, if you're super organized, I would say go for it. I'm like half organized, half not. And so for me, I kind of like to scroll back and see, okay, because I know my splits are very consistent. So I'm like, okay, I know that this was from last week, or I'll even write the date too. So yeah, Excel sheets do help. I did use this planner by Cassie Ho, and she had a fitness planner. So it has I was religious with it. It has like your water intake. You can measure your girth measurements, like your circumference and waist to hip ratio and all that good stuff.
Wow.
Crazy. You can write down like your workout for the day. You can write down, it has a food diary. It has a to-do list. It has a grocery list.
So awesome. Like, is it an app or like a full
it's an actual notebook, because I'm kind of old school when it comes to writing. And then after a while, I became new school.
I like the idea of being like old school and having a planner, like just pen and paper, but I always just like slack on it because it's just so convenient to like put everything and like all your information like in one device.
Yes.
But there is just like such like a nice feeling to have pen and paper.
Yes. For me, I get scrambled. Like I like to doodle everywhere and make notes, and you can't really do, I mean, you can on OneNote, but on I can freely do that, and that helps out so much. So like keeping track of what I eat as well, and how much water I drink each day, and it even asks how many hours of sleep I had. Like it goes into that whole idea of what is health, and you have all of this,
how many hours of sleep that you have,
encompassing things,
stress levels, like
yes, yes.
You can get as detailed as possible, like, and it's pretty amazing. They have like a ton of apps too that keep track of that as well, but I know sometimes it gets like pretty confusing with like getting like having the technology and then like
not for me. But yeah, just realizing that
I pair my Fitbit or my Apple Watch to like this app, and some people it's second nature too, and like others it's completely foreign.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, finishing off, what are your last words of inspiration?
Of inspiration?
Yeah.
I would say in order to stay on this fitness journey or to stay motivated, honestly, there is no motivation. It's all discipline and really staying consistent. And once you build that habit, honestly, without it, you just feel not you. And for me, for example, I slowly got into weights, and without lifting weights, I just don't feel like me, or even in general, just not moving my body. And I can just feel that I don't feel completely me, and I don't like that. So just making it part of that daily ritual, and because motivation is just temporary, you're not always gonna have it. And if you have excuses to curb it, get on that. Get on that. I guess my second thing too is take baby steps. And again, I know that sounds cliche, but I was watching a TED Talk, and it's very similar to how I view fitness. And he talks about reading all these books. He wanted to know so much information, but he just starts off with one word. And, you know, eventually one word kind of tumbles into two words and tumbles into a sentence, a paragraph, a chapter. And with fitness, it's like that too. It started off, you know, I'm going to take one step for a walk, and it leads to a couple of steps. And I'm like, okay, you get into the rhythm of it. It feels super good. And so it doesn't matter how much time you have, you make the most out of it. So taking that first damn step, that's all you need.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have one question that came in. Oh, this actually kind of pairs to another question that I've been wanting to ask. Sorry, I hope you don't, if you have to go, I completely understand.
No, go for it. I am enjoying my day off.
Awesome. Okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time though, because I want to value your time.
Aww.
The question that was asked was, what do you think of CrossFit?
Oh my gosh, who asked that? That is so funny because I have a lot of friends who ask me that.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
It was one of my friends from the UK. So
really?
she teaches meditation, and I'm actually going to do an event with her teaching like yoga Pilates with her, for one of her friends in New York. See, this virtual world just connects everyone all together. But we're gonna have a virtual event. I don't know all the details about it, but it'll be a virtual wellness event where,
oh my gosh,
we'll just be talking about health and wellness.
Oh wow. So I think overall, I think CrossFit is great for those who, you know, enjoy the workout. But for me, I just cringe at people's joints whenever I hear the word CrossFit. I really do. It's so high impact. There's movements that are sometimes unnecessary, you know, and there's more efficient movements that can be done rather than some of the specific ones.
Yeah.
I can't think of any at the top of my head right now, but with that, it takes a lot of nailing down the fundamentals. And what's scary is that people who jump into CrossFit as a beginner, it's scary. I feel for them. And especially, you know, hoping that the coaches coach them well of their form, their alignment, making sure they select the correct weight, and, you know, allowing, if need be, to take breaks and to listen to their body. And, you know, there are times when you do need to push yourself, but I think it's honestly outrageous. I cringe at their joints for doing some of those movements. I think it's okay every once in a while, maybe, but I wouldn't actively want to do that. I think there's other alternatives to achieve those goals from CrossFit. But overall, I mean, if people want to do that and that's what makes them happy, you know, so be it. It's their body.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna stick to, you know, my strength training and my own workouts.
I think, well, I guess not the common, the general public probably wouldn't ask this question, but what do you feel like the difference is between CrossFit and just Olympic lifts?
Honestly, CrossFit and the difference between an Olympic lifting, I think with CrossFit, I don't know if I have an opinion on that.
It's like,
not at the moment.
Is it like the same thing? So at least like what I don't know the CrossFit community, or I've never really been in a CrossFit gym, sort of. But what I hear from a lot of people that are like all about it and that they love it is more so because of like the community, like everyone's like rooting each other on, and encouraging each other. Like everyone's just like really like pumped with adrenaline, and they're all having like a great time. But I guess that the that's also a lot of like uh, external input when, at least for me, coming from a dance and like Pilates background, it's like vice versa, where you want to almost shut out the external and just focus on like what your body is doing, and all of those small, minor, like very meticulous details of where your weight is. Like, is it in your pinky toe? Is it not in your pinky toe? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
And with, I don't know if I have an opinion on that. I mean, I definitely agree with the community. I think it's, for me, I just get really scared of, for those who are starting new, and gym intimidation is already a thing without all that, you
like,
know, without all of everything. Like, it can be very, what's the word? Overstimulating. It can be like just too much at one time. And especially because usually you end up working out and doing your own thing as well. So it's just important for those beginners to have that support, to understand that they're doing the movements correctly, and again, like that weight, and just being aware of their joints,
like progressively, like with a proper technique,
and warm up, add a like very
warm up and cool down.
Warm up, and oh my gosh, and the cool down.
Sometimes I have to take my word on that one, because I still think I'm like I don't know, to early 20s or something.
Oh my gosh, everybody, you need to warm up and cool down.
Warm up and cool down, everyone.
Yes.
But that question made me remember a question that I wanted to ask your opinion on. But what is the purpose of doing the overarching in bench presses?
Overarching?
Like,
so with
I've
that,
seen it extreme.
There's some variation.
There's there's a variation, but I've seen people do it like pretty moderately, and I was like, oh, well, that seems pretty safe. But then there's others who are like doing back bends on the bench.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that is really safe, but I also don't know the entire mechanics of that. So love if you can elaborate.
Yes. So with the overarching, it does help with your range of motion. It really helps with the range of motion in your shoulders. And so let's say if you focus on art, like if we were standing on a wall or on a floor or something flat and having that back against it. So visualizing that if you decided to arch, you actually have room for that scapular protraction and retraction. And when it's flat, you don't have as much. And actually that happened to me the other day. I was, since I haven't been going to the gym, I just had to use a Cabela's cooler to use as a bench, but I could not arch as much, and my elbows couldn't go as far down. So it's really just that position of allowing that full range of motion for your chest. It really kind of helps with adding that power too, and puts the shoulder in an ideal state where it's not going to be injured.
I see.
Yes,
that makes sense.
So really like taking, because you want to go right to the point where, you know, that chest is stretched, and then really going into that full range of motion, similar to bicep curls, you know, when people do the half reps versus going all the way down and all the way up. Similar, just really allowing for that full range of motion. And with the glue off the bench, you see that a lot in competitions. I do not know that much about it since I don't compete, so I'm not going to speak on that. But as far as me, I make sure that my head is on the bench, my point of contact with the shoulders. I create that space in my back, glutes on the bench, and then my feet are touching the floor, which is those points of contact that you want to reach.
Hips, well, maybe hips. Definitely.
Yeah.
And your head as well. I don't know if you can do it with a floating head, but I feel like maybe they
Okay.
could make a bench, like a specific bench for bench presses where it'll allow your arms to like kind of like fit through. I think that'd be
Yes.
interesting. Huh.
Yeah. No, it made me like really grateful for those benches I've been benching for a while, because then when I did the Cabela's, it was, I mean, the cooler was just a lot wider,
It's too
so
wide and like, you know, your arms are gonna stop like right there. Yeah.
which
That
stinks
makes
because then I couldn't go all the way through in my scapulae.
Yeah.
So my
Okay. That makes sense. I think I've just oh we're still on.
I know.
I was saying I think I've just seen like so many to like the extreme, and I wasn't really sure why they had to do it like that much.
Mm-hmm.
The
An Instagram page I do recommend highly. It's called Physique, and it's actually little cartoon drawings that explains the biomechanics further into all those different positionings. And I can give you the link to share as well,
yeah.
for people who are listening and want to look it up. It's an amazing resource for those who are trying to understand why there's so many different variations, because each of our body is so unique as well, and how we're built anatomically.
Yeah.
So with that, you know, sometimes we have shorter femurs, longer femurs, things that we just, and, you know, conditions that we have that may play a role into how we lift, and some variations are better than others. So, I mean, it's that page just kind of addresses it all. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta play towards like adjust things to the body that you have, because not everyone has the same like center of gravity. Some's higher, some's lower. Sometimes their limbs are like really long, or they have like long torsos and short legs, or long legs and short torsos. So though it's like using two different pieces of equipment.
Yes. That's why with exercise, it's, you know, it's not just a science, but it's an art. There's an art to it as well. And to be able to fine tune that, and to continuously, you know, it's so dynamic as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, any last words that you would like to share?
I am very grateful for you to invite me on. And I feel honored that this is my first Facebook Live recording Zoom type of dealio.
You did amazing.
I didn't even know this was a thing. So thank you so much for giving your time and energy to listen, and to, you know, continuously educating yourself on these topics.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and all of like your experience, and I just love like your energy. Like, you're so sweet. And just so inspirational as well, like with all of your exercises and your workout routines. So thank you. I really appreciate everything that you do.
Oh my gosh.
Would you like to share your Instagram handle? I'll also type it in the text as well, but if you would like to say it out loud. And
oh my gosh, yes. My Instagram is at so_vo, Sovo, the first two letters of my first name, and well, my last name is just two letters anyway. So there's that.
Awesome. At so_vo.
Yes.
Nice and simple.
Very simple.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Oh, I guess like a quick reminder, if you guys are interested in setting up a goal setting session, feel free to comment below, or you can reach out to me, and make sure you follow this girl, because she is amazing and such a joy to
oh
work
my
with,
gosh.
and to follow along. So thank you. This will probably be the first of many interviews.
Oh
so,
my gosh, I'll get better, I promise.
No, you did amazing. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun. We'll talk soon, okay? Bye everyone.